G'day, guys. Welcome back to Supercoach Talkback Live. Already got a frog in my throat. Welcome back. Have you had a great round? Have you had a bit of a dodgy round? I think myself, I'm a little bit around par, maybe a little bit below par with about a 24-15. Not sure about scaling at the moment. Not sure when it's actually going to open up for the next round. I've already got some trade plans in mind. The issue is the downgrade options. No idea what I'm doing there, but I'm flying solo tonight. I'm here till about midnight, so I've got about an hour and 20 minutes. I'm on strict time instructions, so I've decided to fly solo and hopefully get through all of your rants, all of your raves, all your celebrations, as well as all of your questions as well. So we've got a few here already, or a few comments at least. First one's from Logan. How are you, mate? 26-13, if you don't mind. Well done. Pondering a Flynn and bias to Sherry and having the big three rucks, or holding bias and grabbing more value primo. Hope you had a ripper week. Well, nowhere near as good as you, mate. You're about 200 points ahead of me for this week, Logs. But yeah, Flynn, extremely disappointing. Look, he was coming up against an absolute monster. And isn't it? Geez, it's bloody tough, not only Max Scorn, but bias. It's an interesting one. Look, a bit of a down last two. Do you hold the faith one more, or do you say, nah, you've done your job, mate? Time to bring someone like maybe a Jack Sinclair in, although I think the break-even is still going to be relatively high, but definitely an option, mate. But great score for the week. Dodgy Malacca. Didn't start the season with Callahan and kind of regret it. Oh, man. I actually did start the season with him and kind of regret trading him out. Is it worth the trade in now? GWS has the best run for the rest of the season for CBA mids, but he has a busy buy for me. Yeah, well, if it's team dependent and it's a busy buy for you, mate, yeah, it's up to you. But he has had, I think, a couple of 116s in a row before this, and then the big 130 odds. So this is what I was expecting when I actually started him, but then super worried about the tag. He went through, I think, a 3-week period where he went, I think, 89 and below. So yeah, well done to those that held. Do you trade him in now? He could be that value type pick, but do you really see him as an out and out primo for the rest of the season? I personally don't, even though he's been on a nice run, but it is up to you, mate. If you've got a bit of a dodgy buy, I'd probably stay away. Roddy, how are you, mate? Says huge Logan. Yeah, well done, Logs. Braden, 2507, 2500 plus. Very nice, my friend. Cause of the ladies, man, Black Leech, 2508. So one up top there. Coming back from 13K overall. Nice cause. Well done, mate. Useless Supercoach. Worst week ever. Premiums are just non-existent for me. If there's players you're anti-potting, let me know and I'll bring them in. That should help ruin them. Sub 220 score with only 5 rookies on field. Extremely unlucky, mate. You can go through tough periods like this, but you'll absolutely bounce back. I'm sure of it, mate. Burners, 2464. I reckon that's just above par, mate. Ranked 700-ish. Hoping to see a green arrow. Not sure what trades are looking like this week. I think it's a pretty decent score, mate, for the week. Shane away, mate. 2391. Bye-bye top 100. Yeah, look, pretty tough when you're around that rank, mate, but you never know. You never know what other scores around that rank are. 2390 for Benno. 551. Hoping I don't drop too far. Hoping for you don't either, mate. Blacks, thought I'd trade Levi Ashcroft to a primo and Sam Walsh. How good. I'll be honest, I don't even know what Walsh he scored, mate, but I was a big advocate for holding Levi. I thought he'd go big in his dad's game. So I think that was his best score of the year, wasn't it? 99. Don't know what scaling was like, but last time I saw 99, which either way is going to be his best score for the year. Midfield bench on life support for Shano, Moraes, Gross, Campo, throwing bonus leak at D8. Yeah, cash gen for some is a little bit harsh. And then you look at Janath and his side that he reviewed last week in the potty, and you think, wow, there is actually cashed in out there if you made the right decisions, but very tough, mate. Matty Granger, almost a 2,500, frustrated that a couple of points off 2,500. Well, 2,497. I said 2,500. I rounded it up for you, mate. Maxi couldn't reach 200. Well, at least you own him, mate. Wowee. As a non-owner, it's just, yeah, it's a dagger to the heart. James traded Levi to Dunks. Rough. Not the end of the world, but yeah. Yeah, in the end, look, I'll go through my trades from around review, but I ended up bringing in Dunks as well. Had a bit of a rough weekend. I won't go through it now. I'll go through it in a round review, but a little bit spiel myself. Lobster, 2563. Very nice, man. Currently ranked 2144. hoping for a solid climb. Think you absolutely will, mate, with that. Well done, mate. Rant in the north got robbed. Yeah, bad luck causer. Fuzzy Wolf DR, horrible week for me. 23.47. Forgot to see Gorn due to work and forgetting. That's tough, man. But again, I keep saying this to everyone. At least you own him. But that is tough, mate, when many owners did go with the big C on him. Jace, 25.74C. Geez, this isn't making me feel too good with all these scores here. Hopefully things brings me well into the top 10K. Love the content. Appreciate you, brother. And that is a ripping score. Well done. Cause our bias plays better away from the SCG. Can't read this year. Thanks for the info, Causer. Mickey, 22.61 this week. Team Nibs a good hard look at themselves. Only near 100 plus in the mids. Yeah, my mids were pretty disastrous as well, mate. Your Brayshaw, and I forgive Brayshaw. Your Dicuss, pretty underwhelming since I brought him in a 125 and the 89 this week. So, yeah, they need a definite lift. Bought Dunkley, as I said. Not the best, but, yeah, all good. How good is Max scoring? Yeah, rub it in, legend, but very happy for owners, mates, and very happy for yourself there as a Melbourne man. Yeah, geez, it's tough. It's bloody tough, mate. That's good form. Hey, DR. Hey, man. Hope you're doing well. Cheers, bud. Do you think that Will Ashcroft is an okay M8 for the rest of the season? Well, I definitely think, given the fact he's got the last buy, that you just hold for now. Hold him into that last buy and then reassess then, brother. So if he's looking like he's going to be around the 8 to 12 mark anyway, then you just say to yourself, I'm just going to hold him, save that trade, and continue until potentially there's an absolute disaster, a real luxury. Look, depending on what he scores in the next couple of weeks, I would be an advocate for holding anyway, mate, just like his brother. I'm Dave, 25.38, sharing next week. Very nice, my man. I'm guessing you're a Gorn owner as well. Broads, who are targets for this week? Busting or being sub hurts. That downgrade option and already have Husweight. I am in exactly the same position. It's a matter of maybe do we go early on a Boxall type? I really don't want to. Look, I'll really need to look into it rookie-wise because I'm legitimately not sure. Does Erasmus come back, given the fact that Hayden Young's injured? Don't know what the timeline is on that. Again, I don't know if it's even going to be Erasmus. Do we look to trade in that mid-option type pick that's got a really low break-even as a short-term type play, a 2-week play? I don't know who that player is, but, yeah, it's a bit to ponder anyway, mate. Let me tell you something. It's hard being a Brizzy fan and hoping Dunkley has a low score when he's in when your op has him. Yeah, it is tough. That's it's not really the reason why I brought him in this week. It was a little bit of panic and missing out on the trades that I wanted to, unfortunately. But yeah, it is good. And looking at Dunkley's scores, and it was Gold Coast, North, and then Melbourne. His low score was not that low and had heaps of ceiling games. I was actually hoping for a really big ceiling game tonight anyway, and I thought the weather conditions would have played into his hands. But, yeah, look, a 108 isn't a disaster, but not what we want. 24.78 for TR. Go to Dawson and prepare for the round 12 buy. Yeah, Dawson is potentially in my plans as well. Frustrating because I could have actually gone Clary to Warner in one trade. I just wasn't quite sure on Warner. All of a sudden, again, in my potential plans this week, because don't need, but I'd like a Sydney or an Adelaide premium because I'm pretty light on in that buy. 27.01 for Jimmy Hornby. Well done to you, mate. That's awesome, bud. 25.58 for Legend. Well done. All these massive scores. James and Legend, that's unreal. Congrats to you both. Good on you, man. Good to see some positive encouragement in the community here. I saw a guy that replied to Abs on Twitter with a 27.58. Rub it into me more, cause rub it in, son. Bison Lynch for Dale and Husweight. Oh, look, many teams were falling over themselves to get rid of Dale last week, Matty, so I can't recommend him to trade in, brother. Husweight, absolutely. But, yeah, look, Bison Lynch is out. I could stomach, but Dale in as an owner, it hasn't been fun, mate. So, yeah, I can't say yes to that one. Sorry, buddy. Jax, and in saying that, I hope he goes bloody well. So, look, if he goes a bunch of 150s, I'm sorry if you don't, and I'll be celebrating, but I honestly don't think he will, mate. 24.56, no loop to pick up Gorn's score. Unfortunate, buddy. Primordial Quasar, I love seeing the Ashcrofts play well tonight. Wasn't it an absolute joy, mate? Matt Daylona, stay away. Yeah, I'm with you, Maxy. Yeah, Lions on top. Good on you, Trav. Good Lions, man. You are, mate. Glad it went early on Husway. Me too, mate. Me too. Really solid today. When will lockout be? I have no idea. Sorry, mate. Sometimes it's early. Sometimes it's very, very late. When do people see being the better Ashcroft in 3+ years? Well, I know that they're DR Supercoach Insider. I absolutely will, mate. Hang on. Where are we on Twitter now? Sorry, everyone. I need to do this when Benny wants a message. I need to how do I do this on computer? Sorry, everyone. Supercoach Insider. So I'm really slow on the computer when I do this. I'm just going to send you the link, Benny. Don't know if you can join us, mate, but there's the link anyway, brother. Much love to you, mate. Yeah, look, I don't know. They're different type Ashcrofts, mate. But look, Will's already won a Norm, and Levi could be absolutely anything, mate. America Keeper. Look, Matty, I'm hoping he could be, mate. I'm really hoping he could be. I don't have that much faith. I'm still planning on trading him out, but wouldn't it be a bonus, mate? Absolutely, Benny. Just sent you the link there, my man. Shawnee Holmes, Boxall looks solid. Absolutely did, mate. Really liked his tackling pressure as well. 99% chance he gets dropped next week. Yeah, look, you just don't know with Rossco and his rookies, do you? Useless have just realised my forward line has scored at my midfield. Yeah, my forward line was on fire as well this week, mate. Worth trading to getting Gorn, have big three rucks or look for value. Still top percent, but without Gorn. I reckon you just got to wait for him now, mate, and hope for a low game. I just would be paying up that much, unfortunately, and it's a killer as well. Flanders around 460. Thoughts on him? Yeah, look, is that absolute value pick. I don't have too much confidence in the pick with what I've seen so far, but if he can turn a corner, we've seen what he can do last year. Was the most expensive Aussie defender that we could start with this year. Don't quote me, but he was definitely up there. I haven't seen enough, but maybe another week of something good, then absolutely, mate. Cash in Pryor or Cleary. I'll be cashing in Pryor over Cleary at this stage, mate. Maxi 25.39, but Clark, oh my God, getting Bowie White a 66. Yeah, always dangerous, mate. I'll be just looking, when you're talking value, those blokes who you think have a genuine chance of being 8 to 10. Bowie, I've always get that wrong. Probably not one for me, but yeah, still half decent, mate. Flint Warner, absolutely, you could do that, mate. Yep. Stewie Mack, American bugger off. He's just making me consider him more and more when I passed on him at his bubble. 25.50 for me. Pretty happy with that. Yeah, very nice, Stewie. And yeah, is it too late? I think it probably is, unless you think he's going to be a genuine keeper, mate. Live stream keeps pausing for me. Anyone else have the issue? Sorry, mate. I don't know if it's from my end, Riz. Nothing I can do. Sorry, brother. I'll just keep on tracking on. Alex, thoughts on either Martin or Sinclair this week? Yeah, well, Martin had that really low game the week before. He had that really big game. Looked really good this week. So it looks like it could be a bit of a roller coaster up and down. It's like Track, Warner, Martin, Rankin, the Horny Man, McRae, Baz, and Daniel to a very much a lower extent. And maybe you could even pair your Merrick with your Daniel now, I suppose. So they're the sort of players that you're looking at. And Sinclair, I'm highly considering, but I think we may have another week on him. I was purely planning on bringing him in this week and potentially even holding off trades before the Clarion news. But yeah, definitely want to do that. Oh, freezing. Sorry, guys. Yeah, sorry. I don't know what's going on there. Villain of the week, Dan Houston, for denying Nicky D a kick in. Didn't see it, mate. But yeah, bugger you, Dan. No good at all. Darren Phillips, 23.95. Mids played like spuds. Rather get the rookies off the ground, but what to do with Oliver? Any ideas? Yeah, I think you got to trade him now, mate. Just a little bit too risky with his physical and mental issues at this stage, I think. Apologies if it is cutting out. I'm not too sure what's going on, sorry. But I'm trying to smash through the comments as well. Benji Wilson, my Podrelli has not been great apart from his 160. Have to hold to full primo. I think that is the play for a lot of us at the moment, just getting these rookies off if we can, and hoping for, spike scores. Dale, for example, this week has been terrible, but a 124. compared to someone like a Jordan Clark. You really win out in a week like this, but I've been losing so much. So for all those people complaining, Jordan Clark owners, just imagine what it's been like for Bailey Dale owners, but just been shocking. Sorry, I've completely lost the comments. Benny took a 68 instead of trading Clary to Warner as we were worried about the Bedford tag. Absolutely, so was I, mate. That's why I didn't go from Clary to Warner in the one trade. The break even was nice. Everything was aligning if the tag didn't go to him, but just didn't want to take that risk and should have in the end. Shano, a couple of weeks ago, never thought I'd be considering trading out Bice before marriage, but here we are. It's 2 weeks is a long time in Supercoach, buddy. And I'll need to see that break even. I don't know if Supercoach is opened yet. I assume it hasn't, but yeah, I'm here till midnight, so we'll all look at this live together. Benny, 24.85 this week. Nice, buddy. Lock, 24.75 with merit as VC. Nice. Couldn't pass up the 172. New Max would go big. Happy I own both. And I was actually against you in a league this week, mate. And I thought, bugger you, Lock. Nah, congratulations, brother. Very happy for you, man. Massive weekend. Isn't it nice to own those two, man? Steve-O, 24.40 for me this week. Nice and par, I think, buddy. Well done. 985K on the bench. Used up all my boost, though. And only 2 trades this week until buy rounds for me. That's a dang load of money on the bench there, man. Barnaby, hey, man. Thoughts on perhaps bringing in Marshall this week? Yeah, look, it's definitely a play. I don't know what your ruck setup's like, but his break-even's low. I think, did you bring him? Oh, I don't know if Brad's watching at the moment, but Supercoach Pro, the wonderful man, was definitely thinking about it. Don't know if he ended up doing it, but yeah, it's an option, man, for sure. I think I already clicked on that one, Shino. You reckon take Gorn now for flex? Look, I'd love to. You're just paying up a lot of money. I'd love to, though. But yeah, if you got the cash, is Flynn a problem? Look, potentially, is a problem potentially getting dropped? Look, the issue is he's playing against Gorn, got absolutely smashed from our reports. I didn't watch this game, so I couldn't see this game. But looking at the score, looking at Gorn's score, it's pretty obvious. And I did hear somewhere that he got taken out of the ruck late. And Archery got put in there. So that's a huge concern. I did originally say worst case scenario, we just need 2 weeks from him. And I think he'll go close to making 100K anyway for us. If dropped, we probably need to just move on and just say thanks for 100K, I guess. Coops, what's an average score? Yeah, I reckon, geez, there's been a lot of big scores here, but I'd say average is 24.50. I'm pretty comfortable in saying 24.50 is average. Joshy Dacos, or Max Holmes. I'm probably going to say Dacos at this stage, mate. He's more of a pod. Do they have the same buy? I'm not too sure, but yeah, probably Dacos at this stage, mate. I don't think he'll cop a tag, whereas Max Holmes, I'm a little bit worried that he may potentially cop a tag. I'm not too sure at this stage. Matty, hi, mate. What do you think a pass score might be? Go Lions. I think I might have already gone to that. I apologize if the stream is going out. Robbie, do you think Daniel and Shearer have maxed out? Look, I would have assumed that Daniel is definitely more of a keeper than Shearer. But at this stage, I'm leaning definitely towards both them potentially not being keepers. But again, we've talked about this a lot. For me, the Daniel, the Shearer, they're my last upgrades, if possible. Worst case scenario, you leave them there. But for some, yeah, maybe. Because I don't think they're going to be top 6 in their line, top 8, 10, whatever it is. For the midfield, do you go top 8 for Daniel? My confidence is lowering. But all in all, if you look at him as a pick, surely he can't be your biggest disaster. He's still scoring well enough, I think, to keep. But yeah, up to you on that one. TDK to Marshall. Oh, look, it's a potential money-making move, but you got to look at their averages for the season. TDK's smashed him for averages. Up to you as a bit of a pod play, mate, but I'd be keeping on to TDK if possible. You'd love to have Gorn there, but yeah, probably not to Marshall. I may be wrong, though. Fozzie, sad I traded Levi. Happy got Trucker and Warner. Well, it's been a hard week to win, but you lost 1-1. All in all, as what a trio there, you shouted about Levi, but at the same time, getting Warner and Track in this week was absolutely huge for you, Fozzie. So well done to you, man. Maxy, Brad got a 26-1-6. Big, and did go Rowan Marshall. Yeah, though, we've got Brad in the chat, and he was contemplating it, I know. But as I said, I've been out of the chat, so yeah, I've had a bit going on, as I said. But yeah, massive for Brad. Shout out to you, brother. Very, very happy. It took a couple of big kahunas there, some testosterone to go for that, Brady. So well done, mate. Being a Carol, Jono, how are you, legend? Hey, I hope you're well and the fam. Cheers, brother. 24-5-7 for me this week. Outscored me, man. 2 trades, Flynn and Moore. Oh, hasn't he been a failed trading for you, man? I was hoping he'd go well with that fixture, but don't even know what to say. Sorry, man. To Huswaite and Warner. Yep, sweet, man. Moore was such a roller coaster own for 3 weeks. Yeah, shouted about more for you, man. Stewie traded TDK to Romo this week and very happy with it. Congratulations, mate. Well, you're very happy and did it, so maybe you do that. Maybe you do. Jack, don't know. Sorry, I'm butchering that. 26-5-7. You didn't butcher your score, mate. Pretty gassed. Absolutely. Congratulations, man. Wish I had the foresight to captain Gorn. Yeah, well, I went Sherry. Don't own Gorn, so I think he was my higher scoring player, so absolutely take that. Alex Lee, hold Humphrey or trade this week. What did Humphrey end up scoring? Let's have a look. So Humphrey, 73. Got massive score last week, didn't he? I'd need to know his break even, mate, but I'd be happy to trade Humphrey out. Barney, but won't trade Warner, but can easily see him getting like a 60. That's the other issue with the pick. He's very, very hard to trust. But one thing I did mention, I forget when it was, some stage the other night, was that with the Warner selection, I think he's a perfect flex because he's got that DPP. This is once you full premium, because hopefully your premiums are scoring, you're hoping 95, 100 plus every week. He's a type of bloke that can give you a real floor score and you can drop it out of your system, but at the same time, he can give you a real ceiling score like we saw this week, and it can be hunky-dory, it can be a nice pod for you. So, yeah, you're going to get your bad, you're going to get your good. It's a roller coaster pick, but with the low break even and the pretty fair and reasonable price for what he could produce on his good day, I think it's one that you could go for. Jakey Sharp, hey, buddy. Hey, dear, SPP to chat to me this week. I think we'll be sad to see the great man leave the team. Yeah, look, I ended up looping him this week and pretty happy I did that. I was just expecting, look, I know it was his 150th, and keep in mind, got a couple of knocks. Remember, it was at Ollie Wines that took his legs out, and things just didn't quite work for the great man this week, but he's been so phenomenal with basically 3 tons before that, DR scaling 98 to 100 for the third one. But has he done the job? Potentially. Yeah, he's definitely on the potential trader block for me, but as you said, you'd be so sad to see him leave because he's just been phenomenal for us this year as SPP. Mickey Caulfield, hey man, 24-6-1, scored that with a little devil voice in my head, convincing me to move captain from Gorn to Nick Dacos. That's a 100-point diff there for you. So that's 25-6-1 if you did, half hour before the Eagles game. Bad luck, but I keep on saying it. On repeat, you are an owner. So, yeah, well done. Congrats there. Drizzy was hoping to bring in Merritt within the next 2 weeks, but with his score of 122, that 172 even, that hurts. It certainly does, and he was in my trade-in plans for sure. We'll talk about plays in the potty, in the round review, and the stocky, because I've got so many plans, so many plays on my trade-in list and watch. It's the downgrade options that are super questionable for me. I just don't know. Steve, what do you think of Will Ashcroft as a target keeper? Will he have a copper tag, and do you see him averaging 110 plus for the end of the year? Look, he could. This is the thing with Will. He absolutely could. He's got that much talent. He's a phenomenal player. and you know that it's going to go to Neil or probably McCluggage. I don't see a tag on Dunkley. He's going to do the defensive stuff, if anything, and I don't really see it on Will. I really think he's that third banana for a tag. I see him in front of Dunkley, but not super realistic type stuff. So when it comes to keeper, look, we've got really some blokes that are in a league of their own, and that's Bond, that's Butters. You got your Brayshaw up there. You got your Nicky Dacos. So I'd include maybe just a peg below those blokes. Even someone like a George Hewitt can't be denied. You've got your Zeret. And then there's probably a bit of a drop-off, isn't there, after that? And that's why I think you can target your Dawsons, potentially your Dunkleys going into this week, your Trackers. You ideally would like to go track a couple of weeks ago, but these are the value type options I think that we can be considering. Like I've got Sinclair very, very much on my radar, and now Jordan Clark as well. Now, people may say with Jordan Clark, he's not a sexy pick. He hasn't got the ceiling. But if you take last week's game out of it, and St Kilda played, Freo played like absolute dogs. Let's be honest. It was just kick down the line, one of the most boring games you'll ever witness. There was no 1-2s. There was no speed, run and carry, and Clark was really affected by that. His game relies on that. So I think that I'll be targeting players like this, just super consistent. And so Clark is a man that I'll be going for. That's just an example of someone. Look at the average 110 plus, like an Ashcroft possibly. Is 110 plus good enough to be an M8? I'd take that. I'd take that as your M8. So if you think that he can, then you could potentially go for him. I don't think it's the worst option, but I wouldn't be surprised for us to be sitting here within, a month or two going, gee, should just let him go at that price. BMI traded TDK to Sherry and have gone happy with that. Yeah, as you would be, man. Getting back after the bye, potentially. What do you think this week? Bringing McCluggage under 600K or Warner? Thinking Sinclair next week. Yeah, well, I'm probably thinking Sinclair next week as well now. I'm assuming his break-even is going to be, and I just did some very, very rough maths, but around the 130 mark. So you could potentially wait another week on him there and just get one more look just to make sure it's all good. McCluggage, probably not. I'd even go a Neil at his price, I think. Warner, yeah, I think he may be able to. But it's funny, like I see a ceiling game, which I know that he can get, and I didn't bring him in for Oliver in one trade, which I just wanted to make the one trade this week. So, my opinion can change very much in 1 week with this, mate. But I suppose my opinion on the pick as a whole hasn't, if that makes sense. Does Sandy Brock come into the side with McGovern concussion? Yeah, potentially. Potentially he does. And looking at the waffle stats during the day, it looked like Clay Hall, I think it was 29 touches, a ridiculous amount. Well, when I say ridiculous, it was 8 to 12. Could have been the lower end, could have been 8 tackles, but he was a leading tackler for West Coast in the reserve. So surely he's got to get a gig. I looked at Gross. I think he had 20 touches, so it was about 9 less than what Hall did. So, yeah, very impressed with the numbers. I obviously didn't watch the game or anything, but, yeah, hopefully he comes back. That would be really, really nice. Jono, very frustrated with myself on taking more, but as you know, can't win all. Yeah, absolutely, man. Michael, 26.30 for me this week. Trades of Clary, Laylor, Warner, and Dawson. Yeah, could not be happier. That is massive, man. Yeah, huge. And that's why you got your 26. Congratulations on that, brother. And I was so close to going Dawson. And I'd actually made up my mind to do that. But then I went back on that. And, I'll talk about my round review. But, yeah, congrats, man. I should have went with the professor's advice. And that's why I should watch a Supercoach Swordplay potty, because the professor was all over Dawson. That's why I should watch the lives as well. So on the Friday night, I was on with Swizz. And we said, get in Petrarca, get in Dawson. They're the blokes that you want. And lo and behold, what happened? They were fantastic picks. Really good picks. So, Maxy, what should I do with Flynn and Sam Pepper? I think, look, I'm willing to hold Flynn if he gets named this week. I'm willing to do that. If he doesn't, it's a different story and he's out for me. SPP the same. Like, you've got your Bice, your SPP, your Flynn, depending on other blokes that you may want to get out, like your Moraes, like your Hendersons. Do you eventually get rid of a Campo if you still got him? Lots of people have dead benches. Your Claries, if he doesn't get up this week, if you held on to him, there's lots of potential trade outs this week, which is good in a way because it gives you options. Bad thing, who do you go down to? We'll just need to wait and see. John is hoping he can finish the year strong. Also might want to see if Ben has joined you. No, he hasn't. And I've definitely sent that. Haven't I to Benny? Yeah, I've sent the link. I've sent the link to Benny. Andrew, 2222 for you. Well, it's an even number, I suppose, mate, for this week. Season sliding down the drain. Bad luck, buddy. Ash Shearer, Martin Brayshaw, Clark, all underperformed. Left 200 points potential on the table. Oliver out. Also hurt. But again, you look at these players, mate. Clark, Brayshaw, Martin, Shearer, Ash. On their good day, they can go absolutely berserk. So the 200 points can go with you the next week and against other people that got the 25s, and all of a sudden you're back on the hunt, brother. So bad luck, but you'll make it back, buddy. A dog 26-3-5 this week for Dakota. Nice, Jack. James, Will Ashcroft, only 26% CBAs for 130 is mental. Again, I don't want to gloat about this, but called this. Absolutely called this. I said that the two Ashcrofts are absolutely going to go bananas. They have not won the medal. Obviously, it's their dad's medal. They're going to go nuts. And absolutely they did. And I don't know if you noticed yourself, mate, that they linked up so much between themselves. It was just brilliant. And it's almost unfair to the rest of the comp. You look at a premiership team. We've been right up there for, 5-6 years now. And the young talent we have in our list, the two Ashcroft boys, come on. And it's pretty ridiculous. Your Lomans, your Moddies, your Jasper Fletcher, who in my opinion, is our most improved player for the year. It's just magnificent. It's pretty ridiculous. Crazy Tree might do Sherrod a Bont because it might hold Hewitt and Reed a bit longer. So can't go up to a premium. Just off rookies, yeah. Some people in the same situation, mate. So yeah, if you're a big believer and you just want to move on, then that's fine. Jace, already have my forward line full. Is it worth bringing in Warner into the midfield? Look, if your forward line is full, I don't think Warner's going to compete with your top mids. So probably not for me, mate, unless long-term flex. Thoughts on Josh Dacos? Yeah, well, Swizz actually recommended him the week before. And shout out to my man, Dan Mashman, Freo Tragic. I think he brought him in or was an advocate for bringing him in. Shout out to you, legend, because he looked really good and is a value and a pod pick. So, yeah, don't mind it. Hey, Rob, got 80 grand to put on Clary. Who would you think trading either Warner, Trust is an issue, or Rankin? Yeah, absolutely Rankin, I think, mate. Trust is an issue, and I think Rankin, you cannot go wrong. Maxi, Jordan Dawson with 3 goals. You're still liking Clark has a good average 101. Does Zorko still take the week off with Kitty Coleman back? Excuse me, I'm just going to have a cough and mute myself here. Oh, apologies. Yeah, look, Kitty absolutely tore it up in the Rezzies. I think it was 28 touches. So, look, I was thinking he gets 2 weeks. Did they just bring them in just straight back into the side? He's a young star. They may. I'm not too sure. Does it affect Zorko? I thought the man was underscored. Like, I was watching the scores like a hawk. And, like, even looking back to last week, was it like 30-odd touches against the Saints? He just got underscored. So, I've been an advocate for Zorko still being a top 6 defender, but I suppose the question marks are starting to become bigger for me. I've got to admit that by now. Enjoyed over 3 goals. Look, he just has not been hitting the score because of inaccuracy. And if you look at his disposal efficiency, Spills mentioned the Swordplay potty that the Professor Janath just turns players good, and that's what he did. Traded in Dawson this week and turned him good. I think his efficiency was really healthy. I think it was in the 80s. So that was a big difference there. And was it more CBAs with Crouch out potentially? I'm not too sure. And just a bit of a dig at Matty Nix here. How can you drop Sid Draper and bring in Sam Berry? Just ridiculous type stuff. Play your future. That is, just no good there. But I like the Dawson pick anyway going into this week. Drew's happy with Callaghan. Last 3 weeks been great. Do you think he keeps going 110? Look, I don't know, mate. It all depends on the tag. If he remains tag free, then I think that he can. Sicily's about to bounce back. Yeah, for owners, I hope he can, mate. Been a little bit up and down, hasn't he, the Sis dog so far. Gormworth bringing in this price. Look, I am a no, but it looks like you can't go wrong. And he's the worst antipod in the game by far at the moment. Should wait for a price drop. I would personally, mate. Sicily is back 111. Supercoach, nice run. Very good, mate. Stu already have the same story with the father-son talent on the Bulldogs list. Sam Darcy, mate. Wow, generational. Trade in Sarong instead of Dawson last minute. Ouch. Yeah, Sarong's been extremely underwhelming. Lockout lifted. All right. Supercoach has updated. All right. We'll have a look now. What do you think of Heaney? Great run coming up, but hasn't hit a ceiling score yet. I think it is just a matter of time, Jace. Yeah, if you like him as a pod, mate, just a matter of time. Open now. Okay. Let's get into it. So, a bit of a live round review here. I will do a separate round review, mind you. Right, home. Let's have a look. 24-16. Well, we actually went up in the ranks. I'll take it. 24-16. So I might have got scaled up a couple of points there. Round rank 16,689. So down 11k, was around the 5k mark last week. Season rank inside the top 4k 3686. So look, it's a slight green arrow, 383 spots up. So maybe I was a little bit harsh on the par score. It looks like par was probably 2400. I was thinking it was 2450. So that's pretty good. Draft leagues, keeper league. I'll never go through my leagues. I probably should actually. Keeper league 1982 defeated the great Damon. Shout out to you, brother. Much love. 1698 there. And in the official league, that's the official Herald someone. Joven, shout out to you as well, brother. Much love. Defeated him by about 300 points there. So a pretty good week on the draft front, which is nice. Update the team. So 8 out of 14. Yeah, very much par for me. Very, very much par. So Carroll 181. O'Connell 128. Roberts up to 500. Reed 322. Very nice. Bias 375. Zorks at the 500 mark. Whitfield 600. Dale 477. That break even will be down. I'll check break evens in a minute. 654 for Brayshaw, 45 for Dacos. Neil's making up that price again. She's becoming more healthy. Dunkley lost a little bit. That's all right. Right on 500 for Shearer, so could be making moves there. The Huss will be close to a must trade in if he plays this week. Lindsay 251, very underwhelming there, wasn't it? Hewitt all the way up to 275, very nice. That break even to be low. 234 for Kako, such a slow burn. Yeah, Sherry right back up now, over 600 where he should be. Ranking nice. Yeah, all very nice here. Almost 400 for SPP and 384 for Flynn. It's not quite 400. All right, break evens. 15 for Carroll. Don't mind that. I can't actually see that from O'Connell. Yeah, that's a negative. Is that negative 29? Or 29? Might be 29 for O'Connell. Bias 71 break even. Reed's a negative 3, so hold for sure. 95 for Roberts is a hold. Down to 86 for Dale, nice. So bias 71. Carroll 16, you keep. Dacos 165. So I was wrong a couple of weeks ago when I said, look, it's now or you wait for a month or two. It's wrong because you probably wait a month. Yeah, that's probably right in the end. But yeah, some big break evens for premiums. Nice for Neil. That's low. Low for Shees, which is nice. Low for Dunkley, which is good or low enough. 14 for Lindsay. So still cash. 131 for Shearer. Negative 83 fast weight. So he'll be a must trade in if he plays, which I assume he will. All the way down to 6 for Hewitt. Beautiful. Looking to make 26 with a 66. So that's nice. Clay Hall is a negative 10 break even. So do you know what? I've got high hopes based off that. Well, like there's not much more. There's nothing more he could have done in the waffle. unless hit the scoreboard, maybe get a contested mark or hit out in the ruck like Clay Hall. Really, he's got to come back into the side this week. Come on. Sherry, geez, that's low for Sherry. You want to jump on if you haven't got him? I'd be definitely going Sherry over Max Scorn if you haven't got either, just based off price here and the fact that Gorn's, I think, unattainable at the moment. Really low break even for Rankin. Absolutely, I'd be going Rankin. Smith, low break even. I'm sure you got him. McRae, low break even. Sure you got him. Yeah, 92 for Daniel. He's projected to go 92. And what's he done on the season? 98. So, yeah, look, he's just not my major problem at the moment. So, he's a hold for me. 37 as a break even for marriage. 23 if he hits a 90. Sorry, 23K. So, that's already 457 next week if he does that. Wowee. If he's not a keeper, he's going to be such an easy upgrade to a keeper, I think. So, Levi, his break even is 51. So, yeah, more money to make and looking to hold him as much as I can. SPP 69. So, again, you can hold him for another week quite easily. Cleary down there at 12, quite easy. And 68 for Flynn. So, do you know what? Flynn is coming up against Nank, who is a little bit notorious for leaking points. So, yeah, break even of 68 for Flynn. So, here's a hold for me. So, I think the outs. Look, Sherry with that 131 all of a sudden. But do you stick with that theme of trying to get rookies off? And you say with your SPP, well, look, surely he doesn't go on that 100 run. Who's he playing this week? He's playing Adelaide. Oof. So what's his history been in the Derby, whatever you want to call it? Where do I see this season stats? 21, 93, and 59. So, gee, it's a mixed bag there, isn't it? Then he's got Geelong at the Adelaide Oval. Ton there for nothing. It's who do you go down to, though? But Zach Reed to keep. And then Bice as well. 71, but he could so bounce back. What's he done so far? So I'm taking out that 52 because it was sub-effective. 96, 124, 89, 79, 101 just last week. And then the 49. So he's gone over his break even in all but one game that wasn't sub-affected. So 1 out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Under 20%. So 16%. Surely he can outdo that with his 71. So, yeah, interesting. All right. Do we have any more? Yeah, we have some more comments. All right. Lobsters. I'm rank 590. Nice, man. Nice. Highest rank ever. Super happy. Congratulations, brother. Jace, 944 for the round have gone up from 17,000 to 7,000. Absolutely chuffed. 10K up in the ranks. Nice work, brother. Fozzie down 1311 to 4432. Bad luck, mate. But hey, still that 4K mark. That's a really nice rank at this stage. BMI, wow, got 2486 and expected to drop, but went up 194 spots to 263. Very happy and surprised. Well done, mate. Yeah, look, I'm a little bit surprised with that as well. I think I was maybe overrating par. Maybe there was a little bit too much carnage there that I didn't see in a couple of the leagues that I checked. But, yeah, well done. That's a super rank. And I'm really stoked to have gone up just as much as I did too. Dale K, I think it'd be foolish to trade out Bice. This is first game of the season. I'm not a big fan of trading out Bice myself, to be quite honest, buddy. I'm not a huge fan of doing that either. I've got 40K in the bank. Flynn with the 73, with the 60. I think I can keep. So it's probably, look, what can I do on the one trade here? But I'll need to go to someone who I think can be a keeper. And is it even worth at this stage? I'm pretty sure I could go to a Sinclair. just in the one. All right. So let's just say that I just hold on to all the other blokes and just look purely at this break even. If he gets another low score, just say another 80, then he drops 22-ish K. Right, so let's go to players I can afford. Yeah, I could. So I could definitely go Sinclair. Okay, 131. So I was guessing it was 130. If you look at that history there, then coming up against West Coast, Gold Coast, very nice last time. The roller sweater he was down back, wasn't he? But, oh, geez, they're low scores. It's a high break even. So what are they projecting? So they're projecting him at 100, which means you lose another 14. Then the break even is 123, which I think he can definitely do there against West Coast. It's at the MCG over there, Marvel. So we like him playing at Marvel, ideally, don't we? In saying that, look at that. That's not necessarily true whatsoever. 70, 99, and 83. Based off this, it was. So we've seen the best and the worst from Jack Sinclair at Marvel, albeit a little bit role dependent there. He's someone that, look, surely he'll come down a little bit, you'd think. Well, not surely. Like, I think he'll come down, but I would not be surprised to see him even smash his break even. He's that sort of player, so that's very tempting for me. Rankin, I've got Dawson's the other one that's extremely tempting. And you see, he's got the break even of 74 as opposed to Sinclair as well. So that was a huge delay. I literally in my head forgot who I was talking about. That's bad. It's late. So this is a ceiling score. I just hate being late. You know, I was late on Dacos. Then I got him in for the 125, but I tend to always be late here and I'm worried. But coming up midfield matchups, I think he goes well there. Collingwood, West Coast. Even with the James Jordan take, who knows? But Adelaide Oval, Brisbane. I think he normally plays well against us. Richmond, Melbourne. Plays West Coast again. North again to end. He could be the man. He could be the man. I'm much more confident in Sinclair being a top 6 defender as I am Jordan being 8 midfielder. But Rosie's another one you can wait on. 114. Yeah, around the mark. He'll get DPP. He's got top 8 potential down back. So we've seen, 300 plus scores in the role. One really nice one, pretty good, and then just above. And then we've seen a low one here. So with 3 tons in a row, modest tons, and he gets to 515. So, after the buy, he could be a defender, I think, that we could look at. Yeah, Will. So 490. That low one will be out of his system. Yeah, well, look at that as a whole. So 73, 43, 99. So let's just call this for the floor, call this and just a mulligan for him. Look, he's gone 130 3 times, the 112, 104. He's under 500K. Look, you could, coming up against North this week. Finn Callahan, I already had him. But look, it's a pair of 116s and 133, isn't it? Break even of 43. Geelong, Freo, Carlton, Richmond, Port. Plays West Coast, North again. I couldn't do it myself. Maxy Holmes is cheap, isn't he? type of bloke that you target the week before. Who's he playing? Giants. You can't risk a Bedford tag. 128. There's no need to rush into him. Poor Bulldogs, West Coast after that. Sort of bloke that could pop, though. Value pick. Track now 523. The Horny Man. Track, I just feel like I've missed a little bit. So Warner's only 488. What's his break even? 26. I think it'd almost be negligent of me to trade in a Sinclair with that break even of 130 when I probably need 2 forward premiums, forward keepers. At least, maybe. I think it's probably going to be Warner for me. 48. I'm actually making money there. See who he's coming up against and what his draw's like, but Noah Anderson. Loves a pod. Josh Dacos is there as well. LDU, not at the moment. Danger Row. Yeah, so I'm just getting to players now that I don't think are too realistic, unfortunately. Look, if I traded out, just say Shearer and Power Pepper, what have I got? 938. Yeah, not enough to do much there, unfortunately. All right, can you keep your team zoomed so we can see the numbers? Oh, sorry, man. Yeah, I don't know what people can actually see, so... Oh, sorry, I'll get out of that. Hopefully that's zoomed in a heap for you there. I'll just leave that on for a sec for you. So I can have a quick squeeze or even pause it if you want. They're all the break-even numbers and projection numbers there. They're looking not fantastic projection-wise, am I? And they're the actual numbers that I've got this week. So that forward line is absolutely banging. You'd love to have a Track and a Warner in there as well. But you can't complain. Deconning really disappointing. When you haven't got a max score in Deconning there, that's a difference between your 2,500 plus scores, I think. Yeah, so hopefully that helps with the zoom in there for you, brother. So I'm behind in the comments. Bro, I just did the maths and had Captain Gore, not Sherry, would have tied for the number 1 score. No way. Unlucky, mate. So if you're a subscriber, you get double. If you tie it, you get half. So unlucky, brother. What's your thoughts on a Josh Dacos pod? Yeah, look, I don't mind him. So he just went up 30K this week. Break even 68. Coming up against Freo. Jeez, that looks shocking, didn't they? Got North coming up. So score 95, 88, 84, 91, 59. So at this point, you're going, look, he's been okay, but he's not a super coach pick. The ceiling was 95 until that point. Hey, the floor's great for the first 4, but then that floor of 59, not great. But then the last 3, 119, 106, 113. So what's really changed here? Fantasy stats, you take more kick-ins, I'm not too sure. All right, well, look at the touches here. So, wow. So you got 30, 36, and then you got 32. Before that, he's still getting 31, 25, 26, 28. So, yeah, I'm not too sure. Look, these are massive numbers here, but he was getting some bigger numbers there. I don't know what happened here, but that's now well and truly out of the system. So, yeah, look at 489. He could be. You'd probably rather him than Zorko in recent form, wouldn't you? So, yeah, look, I don't mind him as a pod. Stewie went from 4,048 to under 1,400. Nice. Would have been happy with any green arrow. Very nice, mate. Any interesting pod picks for this week? Filters. Oh, sorry. Let's just go ownership. So let's look right down. 11. All right. Dan Houston, Charlie Cameron. You got your Sicily. More I wouldn't be going near. Haney. Where'd Haney go? Sorry, it's so hard to control this with the smaller screen. So, well, I did see Haney there. Only 83, 528. Someone mentioned before we hadn't seen a ceiling game from him. Essendon, Carlton, Melbourne, Adelaide, Richmond. Yeah, I probably can't recommend Heaney as a pick. Let's go up from here. Bailey Williams. Yeah, look, there's no one that absolutely stands out to me. This will definitely be a potty stock market type operation when it comes to your pods. Worrell was pretty impressive. I like look at him. Hardiman, what did he end up doing? 76 at 190. Negative 22 break even. Defender. So with a projection of 44, he's going up 30k. Playing my boys. Look, I'll look into Hardman a little bit more. I'm missing players I know here. I'm going through very, very quickly. Look, I probably should have gone the other way. Like, we're going 0.5. Surely there's no decent players in that range. All right, let's go to the 2.4s. 5%. All right, so John Newcomb could be an interesting one. 123 points. So he could be one that you could look at. You're paying up a little bit more. I just wouldn't go near English. 5 points for Bolton. This could be, I don't know. You talked about Warner as that ultimate. Let's see, this is just what Bolton does every single year, I swear. So you start off, you're 57. Then you think, not too bad here, warming up. Bang, here we go, a couple of 100 plus, and then 5. It's just horrendous. You can't have it at 439. If he goes like an 80 and a 75, he's down to 372k. So just not someone that you could ever trust. And I don't think we have the luxury of being a trading someone like that. Jeremy Cameron, Will Days injured. Peatling. Surely you couldn't go Peatling now, could you? Yeah, probably not. I think probably the players around here are here for a reason. We got Josh Dacos there. So Josh Dacos would be absolutely someone. Amon's got had concussion. Rioli just hasn't been doing it. Tom Green? He's certainly a pod pick and someone with decent. Look at that. So 84, 89. And the rest have been decent hundreds. So just scrape for the 100 there. So Tom Green could be a pick for you at 550, who's certainly a pod. Richmond coming up there. Rowan Marshall. Could this be the bloke that you want? Break even of 31 at 471. So this is a pod play. Do you go Rowan in for... So TDK, West Coast, and then a tough Do you just go? Is this a pod 2-week play? Is it a pod 2-weeker? You've got Carlton and West Coast, and then you've got a tough matchup here in Wits and Gorn. How's he gone against Wits and Gorn last time? Oh, you can't see. So Wits 117. Well, look, one real low, not great, and then not great against West Coast. That's your pod play, I think. Royal Marshall with a low break even of 31. Hoping that geez, yeah, 133, 112. And then what he could potentially do against West Coast and Carlton, I'm not too sure. That could be, yeah, a bit of a pod play there. But keeper-wise, you just want Gorn, don't you? Sherry at this stage. You could actually go, I suppose, Rowan is your other one. Nink, I don't like Liam O'Connell. No, I think we're going to real pod territory here. Massimo, he had a good game, didn't he? 120. Yeah, I'll probably leave all the pods for there, mate. But I will definitely be on the hunt for you. Anyway, brother. BMI, being a linesman, what do you think of Dunks as a pickup? Hasn't been great this year, but great player. Already have Neil. Yeah, so with Dunks, geez, he had a great history against Gold Coast and didn't quite come through, but 122, 133, 100 against North, and I've been leaking points. 143, 122, 117 against Melbourne. So got a really nice couple of matchups coming there. And then 99, 148, 110. So if history is anything to go by, then I think he's got a nice little run coming up. Essendon, they want to recruit him for years. Should go well. Yeah, I think he should be okay. Decent price as well for Dunkley, I think, mate. Bedford would be out this week, though, was the concussion. Sorry, so who are they actually playing? I don't even know. Sorry, if someone could put in the comments I forget who GWS are playing. Holmes could be okay this week. Oh, sorry, it must be Geelong. If Bedford misses, yeah, you're right. Holmes could be okay without that tag. You're right. Is Bias a keeper or do we move on? Yeah, look, he's not going to be a keeper, season-long keeper, but I think he could keep for this week. I don't think he's a must-moved on. Rank, if you're talking about Isaac Rankin is a trade-in, absolutely 100%. And my personal rank, geez, it was 3,600 and something, wasn't it? 3,686, my man. Thoughts on TDK and Bias? Yeah, well, Bias, as I said, if you look at his scores, and I went through those before, then he's only really had one that hasn't been sub-affected that's under his break even. So I think he's a fine hold. And thoughts on TDK, again, I think he's a fine hold. But, yeah, you'd love to get him. Look, well, there's three things that you do, isn't it, with TDK? You either go up to Sherry, up to Gorn, or down to Marshall. That's what you do, or you hold him, and I'm an advocate just for holding at this stage. Scotto, just check my rank, and I'm ranked 45 for the season. Nice, man. Never been this high, but I'm scared. I don't know what to do. Hey, just keep doing what you're doing, mate. Back your gut, brother. Back your absolute gut. Captains are interesting to look at this week at first look. Jono, yeah, I'll do that once I've got through some other comments, man. Anyone having early ideas as a captain? Dacos into Wit for Damo, maybe. Very nice, mate. Went up 4,734 spots. DR now ranked 11K. Nice, John. I went to the top 10K after next week for you, brother. Got tagged against Sydney. Goalie on Boxall or Fonte. I don't know anything about Fonte, I must be honest. Boxall looks super impressive, but we'll have to have a look at him, mate. We'll have to see if he's just named this week at least and then reassess. But it's a risk, isn't it? Dacos got tagged against Sydney. Okay, interesting. Thank you very much, mate. That is very good to know. That gives me more confidence in the pick. He could. Hardeman round 12 by, though. Yeah, that does hurt. Does Flynn go? Look, it depends on if he's named or not this week, but I think that you could hold. if he's not, mate. Not a must trade out by any stretch. Really liking Sicily as a peak, especially if Kelsha Deer back. Absolutely, mate. It's all about role. If you see him back, that's always a really, really good thing. Flynn Davidson, Francon and Huss this week. I think that is absolutely fine, brother. I'm actually trying to get through the comments a lot quicker this week, and I'm always rushing to get through, so doing my best. And what have I got? About 15 minutes left. Lizard King, 2K off Ralph Flynn, Bice to Whit Merritt and Rookie Payne. Ouch, that one does hurt, doesn't it, mate? But again, I think they're all fine holds. Rao got so much attention put into him by Dunks tonight. The poor bloke just couldn't get near it. Who's first in, Rankin or Dawson? I'm torn after listening to you talk them both up. Look, Daz, at the end of the day, mate, I am not a super coach. I don't ever claim to be an expert or anything like that, mate. But look, I really think that either way, you're getting a really good selection here. Personally, if you're asking me which player has a better chance of being top of their line, I think it's Rankin. But Dawson is such a great value pick. I wanted to do it last week. As I said, things happen, though. The Professor Janath did it, and that I was just going to ride on his coattails on that one. Because as I said, I didn't know if I said it before or if I was just talking on the phone before. But, yeah, Spills made a comment. Whatever he touches turns to gold. He's bringing Dawson in, so why not? And it's that strategy of value, focusing on value rather than spending up on the big boys. Bring in Finn Barr. Jeez, that was his first game, wasn't it? Hang on, let me just have a look for you, mate. I'm sure that was Finn Barr's first game, wasn't it? Marley. Isn't it Marley? Finn. Break even 2. Season stats. Yeah, no, I wouldn't be bringing him in, mate. Nah, look, see how he goes against my boys if named. And then this could be juicy. Richmond and West Coast. Yeah, maybe, mate, but I wouldn't be going early on him. All right. I've gone McRae into go. Oh, I'm sure that's not a trade. That's captains, mate. Yeah, that's captains. Dawson with 3 goals. Can we trust him? You can't absolutely trust those 3 goals, no, mate, because... All right, let's just have a quick look at Dawson while we're here. All right, so if we look at his... What is it? Fantasy stats, isn't it? Fantasy stats. So girl behind. Yeah, so look at this. So... 2 goals, 2. So if we look at his accuracy over the season, 2-5. So he's had a pair and then a trio, and then 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So 5-9. Well, he really fixed up that accuracy today. Before that, it was 2, 3, 6, 8. It was 2 goals, 8. So if your question is, can we trust the 3 goals? No. The answer is no, we can't trust it. We can't trust it. But let's have a look at these scores overall. So 2 goals, and he only got to 103. The game after that, 124, no goals, and he only needed 19 touches. North, again, don't really know what happened there, but just the one behind. Nothing for a 124 again. 3 behinds here for a 60. So if you translate 2 of those to goals, then that's close to at least an 80, which brings that floor up at that minimum. 113, just with the 2 behind. So again, you add those onto a 113. And bang, so it's this 156 here. And look, 22 touches. The tackle count's been nice. It's been pretty solid for the whole season. But it is that scoreboard impact. In saying that, though, the only other scoreboard impact he's had has been in round 1. And we've seen him go 124, 124, 113. Also seen the worst of it. But looking at the break even, I do like this run coming up. I do like that. The break-even's really, really low. Well, not really, really low. It's low at 74. I think you could. Warner for me with that break-even, though. Jeez, he's going to be hard to pass up. He really is. Dawson with 3 goals. Can we trust him? Sorry. Already got that. All right, it's getting late. What do we got? 5 odd minutes to go. HVW Kings was going to trade Flynn to Took. Excuse me. Tuke Miller. Tuke is definitely a pod. What did he end up scoring, Tuke baby? Break even of 109. What was he in the end? He was a 116. So I was so close to trading him in. It was actually Tuke or Dunks for me. And I ended up going with Dunks, who I saved a little bit more coin. Basically, wouldn't have had much in the bank at all with Tuki. But yeah, I was looking at the ownership and just super low, the 2.3. That's what I was really considering. I was looking at that time up forward, though, and I was looking at his scoreboard impact. And I was looking at this 2, 3, 1, 1, 1, 0. And I was asking myself, can he continue that? Because these goals here are the difference between probably hundreds and almost sub hundreds. Like he's just creeping there. Here, he's just creeping there. And then for his two, I suppose, bigger type scores, he's really impacted the scoreboard. So that was a little bit of a concern. I thought you're getting your consistency there. Excuse me, but you're probably getting your ceiling with Dunkley in saying that, more of a floor with Dunkley. So yeah, he's been just a solid pick, I think, Tuke Miller, but in the top 8 for midfield averages. So been a really solid pick and one that you'd still probably go. LeBoom. I'm going Davidson, O'Sullivan to Boxshall and Sinclair. Yeah, the Saners boys, mate. Boxshall, I'd love to go on as well. If I'm going early on a rookie, it's probably Boxy if named. Sorry, WDMDR, but trainer was solid today. Yeah, it was. Look, Jono, congrats to all those that held him. In saying that, you're not really rubbing it in too much because I held Zach Reed. That was a big win. Zach Reed was absolutely the big win. And I was planning on trading him out this week. So he was in my plans to trade out this week with potentially SBP, maybe a Levi. I had high hopes on Flynn, thought that he'd do better than what he did, even though I thought he'd struggle against Gorn, but 75 plus Flinny, come on, son. But yeah, kudos to those that held trainer. That was a recommendation Swizz and I gave on the Friday live. Just hold him for now because that low score go out. And he's such reliable and been such a consistent rookie. And they'll want to get games into him. So, yeah, well done, mate. Tuke Miller as a pod, yep, just talked about him, mate. Looked at his scores. Absolutely, if you want something that's just going to be solid and the buy works for you as well. Delic, I so want to bring in Bont and Butters, but it's just not worth it at that price. I am absolutely with you, brother. Absolutely with you. Who's a full and primo for this week? Well, I think if you look at it, it's Chad Warner. It's close to Chad Warner. Then you've got your Dawsons, who we've talked about. Look, your Track, I think he still presents some value. You've got your Dunkley, who'll be at a pretty solid price. Your Lockie Neal will be a bit of a fallen premium for us as well. You've got your Jack Sinclair, who's also going to be a fallen premium, but in saying that, around that one, yeah, he's got that 131 break even. So, yeah, there's some options off the top of my head on a range of different lines for you there as well, mate. So, Sherry's break even's low, if you want to call him a fallen primo, but you're paying up a lot, aren't you? But there's just a few options there for you, brother. Went real over Tuke did Vondas because Tuke didn't play forward 1 week. Yeah, ouch, mate. That really does hurt, doesn't it? TDK still top 3. You know what? I think he is. Well, let's take a look at our ruck options. So let's filter to the ruck. So we might finish off with this. And let's just go to average. Well, yeah, geez, I didn't realize that Darcy Cameron had come up so much. So we've got Maxi, TDK, Darcy Cameron. So remember, this Sherry was injury affected. If Sherry wasn't injury affected, then I believe that he could be running with Max Scorn here. Actually, 687. Do you just trade him in? Well, it's the same advice I've got to give with Bond, with Butters. TDK to Gorn. It's 120K. Maybe maybe I'm focusing on the value a little bit too much. Maybe you do just do it. Like, what's the man's break even? Is it sickening? It's 32. Remember what he's done to Hawthorn in the past? It's probably a few years ago now. It probably shows my age, but it was like literally 200. Yeah, there you go. It was that long ago, but I've still got nightmares of that. Or was it nightmares or celebrations? I don't know. It might have been celebrations, but all right. So you got Darcy Cameron, who's a 112. He's only 2 points behind him in the averages. Then you got your Meek, 108. Dogger, no. English, nah. Okay. Witsnank, nah. Okay, so, and then you've got your Rowan. Flynn, Grundy, you just don't. Rowan's there. Oscar, Sweet, Goldie, Shrek, nah. Okay, so we're not going to anyone seriously. It's got to be out of that. I say he's top 3. TDK. I still stick with the fact that he's top 3. So for me, I've got, as you can see from the screen here, TDK and Sherry. The question for me is, do I want, like, I need Max Gorn pretty much in a way, don't I? So is that going to be through TDK or is it going to be in the flex? Ideally, I want it to be in the flex because a 114 average, surely that's good enough. Does he continue? If you look at, well, in all fairness, a 105 and a 106, 3 and 5 round to average. So the break even's 117. 148, 133, 135. And everything else apart from last week has been 100 plus. So surely he's not the top. Like, I understand wanting to get to Gorn. And again, to be fair, it's only 120K. The play could have actually been last week. So 60K swing from last week. It was a move, wasn't it? But in hindsight, you're still happy with what TDK's done. Like he just went a 135 last week. But you could. The move's not for me. I won't be doing it, but you could. All right, we are pretty much done, aren't we? All right. I'll do 5 more minutes. Here we go. G'day, dear. Hey, Izzy, how are you, man? And as you can see, a member from the symbol there. Much love to you, brother. And again, thank you very much to anyone that's signed up to become a member. Anyone that's donated so far means the world to us, guys. Thank you so much. And I'm getting Jack on soon for a Bat for Jack video. 24.45 for me and into 312 for rank. Any thoughts on Will Lorenz? No, I don't actually, mate. But let's look him up. 119. I hope he's on the bar. So negative 35 isn't. Geez, 83. Okay. Fantasy stats. Geez, okay. So we only got, 15 touches, 2 marks, 2 tackles. For an 83. Well, just look at the numbers. He must have been either highly contested or highly efficient. Looking at those numbers, it doesn't seem like an 80 sustainable off that. But yeah, I'll have to look into that more, mate, during the week. Luke Ryan from Cooper. Off the bat, my first thoughts are no, mate. Sorry, where's my Supercoach? Keep on missing it. Oh, God. Sorry, he's getting late. Luke Ryan. 466. Jeez, he's cheap. Break even of 81. Do we like what we see here? Well, we like what we see 2 times apart from that. No, probably not for me, mate. I'd just be investing in quality, I think, at this stage. But if you back him in, all the best, brother. History has shown that he can. Clary to Warner and Flynn to Neil if Flynn isn't named. Yes, love that, mate. Like that. Alex Worth trading TDK to Gorn, bringing in Marshall at the flex. Yeah, talked about that as well, brother. Michael Billos, how are we feeling about Caleb Daniel? 3 straight 80s. Yeah, talked slightly about him, but My advice at this stage, mate, is that surely it can't be your worst problem. Just hold him until it's either a really terrible score or that buy comes, we're ready to upgrade, whatever, a few luxuries here and there. But I'm not feeling great about it, I must admit. Could he get dropped? Potentially. But yeah, I'm holding for now as long as he's in the side, mate. Rogue might be going a tad early on these rookies and relies on Flynn getting dropped. But currently trades look like Lashcroft, Bice, and Flynn to Huswaite, Sinclair, and Neil. That would be really, really nice, man. Look, I'm a fan of keeping Levi. Bice and Flynn, yeah, it depends, mate. Look, even if Flynn's named, you could still do it technically. But yeah, they could be holds. A couple of those blokes, absolutely. I'm following Bailey Smith's, says Yonder's example when it comes to Gorn. Giving the finger to him. Very good. Lizard, Pig and Briggs over Gorn will haunt me forever. Was spooked by the Melbourne train wreck and his slow start. Ouch is all I can say. Sorry, brother. Commiserations. James, does Jaden Short need to go? 22 trades and other issues. Look, almost, because he's giving you rookie scores, isn't he? What did he score you this week, brother? 434. Look, up until this week, I was thinking, oh, what was the point of even going short to Dale? Oh, he plays West Coast this week. Oh, 68. Plays West Coast this week, though. Break even's 109. Another 68. He'd lose 20 odd K around the 400 mark. You'd love to even go to a Sinclair, even though he's got a high break even. Oh, he's against West Coast, so I'd probably hold, to be quite honest, mate. But does he need to go? Yeah. I just hope for a spike score. All right, no problem bringing in Merritt this week against Swan's potential tag. Probably not Driz as much as it hurts. What do we think about Real? I've got Bryce Flynn to deal with this week, but then these fake Primos gone. I'd probably just hold on to him, mate, if you got those fake Primos there. And last one is John O'Carroll that will end with quick captain chat. Now, you know that I'm not the man here, Jono. And you'll definitely need to look for the Captain's Corner video. However, very, very quickly. Right. Based off matchups here, who we got? So we've got Freeman. So I'll try to zoom in a little bit here so everyone can see. Geelong North. All right, so got Fremantle and Collingwood. Could you go Nicky D? I'm going to say Andy Brayshaw is a brilliant VC option on the, a Thursday night. The Saints and Carlton, could you go your TDKs? Could you go your Rowans even? Potentially, but I'd be a little bit nervous on there. Gawn, how can you deny that? Absolutely, you're going to go something with Max Gawn. Essendon and Sydney. Gawarna, Marvel, the Roof, probably not. No, I don't really like anyone there. I don't think Zerrett is the big one, but you've got James Jordan, so surely he goes there. Gold Coast versus the Dogs. If you've got a Bont, then surely you can go there. Do you go maybe your Anderson or Real as a real pod pick? Potentially, you could go there. Wouldn't go English if you got him for the few that do. Porton. So, look, Zach Butters, absolutely. Look, this is the game where I think the big-time players or the stars will really play their best football. So, you could go a Pod Rankin, a Dawson. You could go your Butters, absolutely. Yeah, not telling anything new there. You could go your Rosies. You could go your Horny Man if you really, really want to pod something up. But, yeah, I could see someone going really big because I think this will be a super close game and some crazy scaling will happen there. That's just my prediction. West Coast, Richmond, we probably don't have any good enough premiums from those sides, do we? I don't think to realistically. Marriage? do you go a pod Marriage? Baz, Holmes, Flynn, Callahan, if you've got him. Lockie Whitfield, do they GMHBA? Do they lock down on Lockie Whitfield? Look, potentially. You could go Lockie Whitfield. And then North versus Brisbane. Well, Chucky Neal. Surely Chucky Neal. He's dominated them, hasn't he, lately? What's Chocky done? 125, 176, 105. So not well dominated at 176, but yeah, I think Chocky's going to be an awesome option. I think I've already looked at Dunkley's numbers against North as well. Could you go a North player? Could you go a Cherry against an Oscar? 122, 133, 100. What has Sherry done actually against Oscar as a real late captain? 115. Yeah, so probably not Sherry. But I do like Brayshaw early on. Could I go for the first and last game here? Could I go for Andy B? And then Chocky. Chocky's been in good form lately. I'd love to go someone there, but I'm just not confident on, who's actually going to go big. She's could go big. Maybe a Dicuss, I'm not too sure. Don't have much confidence elsewhere. Maybe Baz is a real pod. Who are the Saints got, actually? McRae. Carlton. Maybe. Yeah, Brayshaw into Neil for me, brother, at this stage. Let's just do that now. So, Brayshaw. And again, just in such an easy loop with Harry there. And hopefully I don't need it. Captain there. All right, guys. I think that is me done. Oh, hang on. We've just got a few comments. I said I was only going to go. All right. It's 12:05, but Turbo. Here we go. I hate just not answering comments. What to do with Real? Got bias Flynn. Oh, sorry. Already answered that one, mate. Didn't I? I think, disrespect, I'll go back to it. But Frank, yeah, sorry, I did. What's that? I may have accidentally pressed something there. Rhino, 26-17, pumped as you would be, mate. Second weekly score inside top 300 weekly. Nice, man. Thanks, DR. Never miss a vid. I appreciate you, man. The vids are nothing, and the community is nothing without all the wonderful people like yourself that tune in, man. Binger, love your work, man. Appreciate you, brother. Have to have a chat during the week some stage, mate. I had a lot going on, man. TDK up against his future teammates, you cheeky bugger. We've missed Scoops as well tonight, haven't we? Thought it'd be up and about after that St Kilda win. Thought we'd hear from him for sure. And Jake Wood, hey, last 2 weeks when I watch your lives, feels like the internet just cuts in and out. I'm afraid I don't know why, but just happens to your lives. I've got no idea. Sorry, Jakey. No idea, mate. Like I'm working with the best that I've got here, brother. And yeah, if it's cutting out, I've just got no ideas. Sorry, mate. It's just the internet. And last one here, before I say goodbye to everyone for the night. Sammy Flanders, 459K is interesting. Absolutely. Showing he can score with low CBAs in the past. Reckon he can turn it around. Quickly finish with his scores, mate, for you. 459 is such a bargain. It's not funny. Such a bargain. Well, he hasn't gone the ton, has he? We've seen 47, 71, 84, 93, 82, 92. Well, it's his second best score of the year, mate. There's a chance he turns it around. The break-even's 96, 97. Yeah, but there's just no reason to do it at this stage, mate, with the other defenders that we've got, as well as the other forwards we've got. Midfielders we've got as well. All right, that is it, guys. Thank you very much for joining me for Sunday Talkback. We had a late game on this week. Not many people could join us tonight, but for those that did, thank you very much. Always appreciate your company. I'll make sure that I try to get the stock market out ASAP this week and really do a big one, do a proper one. We've obviously got the Swordplay potty coming up. Monday, Rage Trades with Scobes and lads. Shout out to you, boys. That's going to be back tomorrow night. I'm going to get that round review out. And then we're going to do lives throughout the weekend as well. Bit of Spills chit chat and the big one, some game day squad content from Rossco and all the rest of the crew as well. Shout out to all of you lads. So thanks again, guys, for everyone for joining me. Apologies if the stream's been cutting in and out. I've got no idea why that is. I'll double check all my StreamYard settings and internet settings. And hopefully when I join you next time, it'll be a little bit clearer, a little bit smoother. So much love, guys. All the best. and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers, guys. Bye.